so why should we even care about primitive reflexes? We should care because sometimes we just know that something isn't right with our patients. They're not moving well, they might be toe walking, they just don't feel well, they have behaviors and movements that are beyond their control, they're not able to pay attention and concentrate like we'd like. They may have poor awareness of social space, difficulty interacting with their peers. Now, not only can primitive reflexes cause difficulty in children, but they can cause difficulty in our adult patients as well. So we'll talk about this today, but specifically for people with neurological dysfunctions such as MS, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, post-stroke, or post-TBI, those reflexes can really cause issues for our patients. And finally, we should care because the reflexes are related to the brain. So we are taking care of the patients, we are taking care of the brain, and as we all know, traumatic brain injuries, concussions, they affect the brain, and so therefore they can affect everything that the brain controls, including primitive reflexes.
My daughter Lucy is 5 years old now. Ever since she started walking, we kind of noticed she had a tendency to walk on her toes. It got really noticeable probably when she was about 3. So we brought her in for an evaluation, and they found out that she had several reflexes that were retained. And so we started with Kimberly working on therapy. She suggested we go to a PT just to check to make sure everything structurally was good, muscle tone, that kind of thing. So we did go to PT. We had some visits with them. They really just worked on core strength, overall strength, and getting her stronger. After that, we continued working with Kimberly. After working with her for a while, I realized when Lucy was at gymnastics, standing in line, she would jump and kind of flail her arms a little bit. And I started watching her, and she did this more and more when she was supposed to be standing still. As therapy continued, I just tried to keep watching things. The toe walking calmed down a little bit. She would still do it when she was getting excited, nervous, that kind of thing. They started doing a new cold laser therapy, so we proceeded with that. After the first full session, I noticed at gymnastics one day, she stood in line and she didn't jump. It was really awesome as a parent to see. So she currently does not toe walk at all. Even when she gets excited, she is flat-footed when she is running, walking, all that, which is really good progress. As I did my own kind of research on some of the reflexes that were still integrated, I noticed that some of the symptoms were allergies and illnesses and those kinds of things, and light went off. She kind of always tended to be a little more lower energy level, kind of always had that upset tummy, diarrhea, maybe a low-grade fever, didn't really want to go and do as much as her older sister. After doing the cold light laser therapy, I have not had to keep her home from school. She doesn't complain about stomach aches. Her appetite is even increased, and she just isn't as likely to lay around and watch TV or want to play on her iPad. She wants to be more involved in life. She wants to jump on the trampoline and go and do things. So I definitely think all of the services we have done at Vision in Motion have just increased her abilities and overall wellness of her life. I think she's going to do much better than if we hadn't ever come here.
One thing that the mom forgot to talk about, she told us after we made the video, was that Lucy, even though she was potty trained, she was always kind of wet. And then she didn't realize or recognize when she'd kind of had little accidents here and there. So mom was real concerned she was going to be starting preschool soon. What was going to happen if she went to school and would have these accidents but wouldn't tell anybody because she didn't know? Then she's completed therapy, and we've worked on and addressed all the reflexes. She no longer has any accidents. She's completely continent all the time, day and night. So why do we care? I've been very privileged through my years of experience. I've worked with both ends of the rainbow, I like to say. I've worked with a lot of kids, and I've worked with geriatrics. We should care because for our pediatric patients, primitive reflexes can be one of the reasons why they're struggling in school. There's a direct correlation between the TLR and the STNR on those reflexes being retained can decrease a child's reading ability and interfere with their saccadic abilities. And in the geriatric population, 44% of geriatric patients in facilities have severe postural reflex impairments, where 24% have moderate impairments. So, if we have that much impairment because of postural reflexes, how does that affect our balance? What's that going to do to falls? So no wonder we see an increase in poor balance and an increase in falls in the geriatric population. What are reflexes? Sally Goddard likes to describe them as an involuntary response to a stimulus and the entire psychological process activating it. Michael Allen says it's an immediate and involuntary response to a stimulus. It is a fast response to a change in the body's internal or external environment in an attempt to maintain balance and stability. And then lastly, Bonnie Brandeis says a reflex is a neurological arc that has both a specific stimulus and a predictable response. In all of them, we notice that there's stimulus and response. So reflexes are that. They're the response, motoric response to a certain stimulus.